Have you ever found yourself lying in bed at night, unable to sleep because your mind just won't shut up? You keep replaying that one conversation, wondering if you said the wrong thing, or worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet. If we've all been there. That, my friend, is overthinking. And let me tell you something, overthinking is the silent killer of peace. It makes you tired without doing anything. It tricks your brain into feeling busy when you're actually stuck. And worst of all, it's a habit, one that we can break. But before we talk about how to stop overthinking, let's understand what it really is. Overthinking is when you think too much about something to the point that it becomes unproductive. You analyze and reanalyze again. You go from, what should I wear tomorrow? To, what if I wear the wrong thing and everyone judges me and I die alone? Sound familiar? Overthinking is not just thinking a lot. It's thinking in circles. It's a mental hamster wheel. You don't move forward. You just spin. Now, here's the first truth. Overthinking is not about intelligence. In fact, smart people overthink the most. Because they're used to analyzing everything. They want to find the perfect solution. But life doesn't always give you perfect answers. Sometimes it just wants you to act, not calculate. Let's pause here for a second and break down a few key phrases. My mind won't shut up, a casual way to say your thoughts are too loud or constant. Mental hamster wheel, a metaphor for running in circles mentally without making progress. It's a habit, a reminder that overthinking isn't a one-time problem. It's a repeated behavior. All these expressions are very common in spoken English, and they make your language sound natural and fluent. Try repeating them out loud. Now, let's talk about why we overthink. Most people overthink because of fear. Fear of making a mistake. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of failure. Or sometimes even fear of success, because success means change, and change is scary. So instead of doing something, we sit and think. We hesitate. We wait for the right moment, the perfect plan, the safe outcome. But those things rarely come. And while we wait, life moves on. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you want to start learning English. But you keep thinking, what if I sound ridiculous? What if people laugh at my accent? What if I make grammar mistakes? So instead of starting, you wait. You do nothing. And months pass. That's overthinking. It creates imaginary problems that don't exist yet and might never exist. It's like paying interest on a debt you don't owe. So the first step to stop overthinking is recognize when you're doing it. That's right. Awareness. Just noticing it. If you can stop and say, wait a second, I'm overthinking right now, that's already progress. It means your brain is no longer driving the car. You are. When your brain is spinning, it's usually focused on problems or possibilities. It's stuck in the what-ifs. So, the trick is to break the loop by doing something physical or practical. Something real. Something now. Let's say you're overthinking about a job interview tomorrow. Your brain is throwing thoughts like, what if they don't like me? What if I freeze? What if I say something stupid? Now try this, stand up. Take a walk. Drink water. Open your notebook and prepare answers to a few common questions. Focus on what you can control, not what you can't. Action kills anxiety. Remember that. Repeat it. Action kills anxiety. You don't need to solve the entire situation in your head. You just need to take the next small step. Here's a short vocabulary tip. To freeze in English doesn't mean you're cold. It means you suddenly can't move or speak because of fear. Loop refers to a cycle that repeats over and over. What ifs are those anxious questions that start with what if and often lead nowhere useful. Now, let's talk about perfectionism, the close cousin of overthinking. Perfectionism tells you, don't act unless it's perfect. Overthinking says, let's analyze it until it's perfect. See the problem? Both want perfection, and both paralyze you. But here's the truth, nothing you do will ever be perfect. Ever. And that's not a problem. That's liberating. Once you accept that mistakes are part of growth, that you can't control every detail, and that failure is just a teacher wearing an ugly suit, then you're free. Let's apply this to learning English. Some learners want to speak only when their pronunciation is perfect, or when they've mastered grammar, or when they can understand movies with no subtitles. Guess what? That moment may never come. But here's what can happen instead. You try. You make a mistake. You learn. You grow. That's fluency. That's confidence. And that's life. A quick phrase to remember here. Done is better than perfect. In other words, doing something even imperfectly is more valuable than waiting forever to do it right. Now, let's talk about one more important part of the puzzle. Talking to yourself like a friend. Most people are incredibly harsh with themselves. Their inner voice is rude, negative, judgmental. They say things like, "I'm so stupid. I'll never be good enough. I always mess things up." Would you ever say those things to your best friend? Of course not. So why say them to yourself? One of the best ways to stop overthinking is to simply ask, what would I say to a friend in this situation? Suddenly your tone changes. Your advice becomes kinder, and your mind relaxes. That's the power of compassion. Not only does it make you feel better, it makes you think better. Because overthinking thrives on pressure, on fear, on self-criticism. But it dies when you introduce kindness. So if you want to stop overthinking, you don't need to fight your brain. You just need to treat it gently and guide it somewhere else. Let's wrap this up with some real, simple strategies you can use starting today. These aren't magical. They won't erase overthinking in one day. But if you use them consistently, they'll retrain your brain, and that's what really matters. Strategy 1. Set a thinking time. This might sound strange, but it works. Instead of trying to stop overthinking all the time, schedule it. Give yourself 10 or 15 minutes a day to overthink as much as you want. Worry, plan, imagine, go wild. But once the time is up, you stop. You move on. Why does this help? Because your brain knows there's a time and place for your thoughts. You're not suppressing them, you're containing them. Like putting a wild horse in a stable, not letting it run through your entire house. Strategy 2. Use the 5-5-5 rule. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 days? Will this matter in 5 months? Will this matter in 5 years? Most of the time the answer is, not really. This helps you zoom out. Overthinking makes small problems look huge. But when you take a step back, you realize, it's not that deep. Strategy 3. Write it down. Overthinking lives in your head. Writing takes it out. Take a piece of paper and write everything that's bothering you. Everything. Don't filter. Just dump it all out. You'll notice something magical. When your thoughts are on paper, they lose their power. They become visible, manageable, smaller. You might even laugh at some of them. Plus, writing in English, even simple thoughts, is great practice. You're not just clearing your mind, you're also building language skills. 2 birds, 1 stone. Strategy 4. Move your body. Seriously, go for a walk. Dance like nobody's watching. Clean your room. Exercise. Overthinking is mental noise. Physical activity brings you back to the present. You don't have to run a marathon. Just move. It breaks the loop. Strategy 5. Ask better questions. Bad questions fuel overthinking. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? Why does this always happen to me? Good questions create solutions. What can I learn from this? What's one small step I can take right now? How would my best self handle this? So next time your brain is spiraling, pause, and change the question. Now, before we end this episode, I want to leave you with one last message. You are not your thoughts. You have thoughts, but you are not controlled by them. Overthinking is not your identity. It's a pattern, a habit, a mental reflex. And habits can change. Thoughts can shift. You can grow. You already took the first step, awareness. The second step, action. The third, consistency. And remember this, learning English, or doing anything worth doing, is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, again and again, even when your brain wants to hold you back. You've got this. Now go live your life, not just in your head. Thanks for listening. And remember, done is better than perfect.